Our work with Scenarios USA is a natural partnership because both of our organizations believe inherently in the power and value in young people's voice. That young people care about issues, particularly when it comes to gender, relationships, power. And we know that when people have unhealthy relationships, sexual violence is very often a part of that. Young people need space to explore what it means to be a man or a woman, understand power, bullying, what relationships look like, and then commit to themselves what kind of things they want in their own relationships. So this Scenarios USA film is called Speechless, which is written by a girl from Cleveland named Roxanne Lasker Hall, deals with the sexual violation of a young man. I think it's going to surprise a lot of people because most people don't consider young boys, young men, as at risk for sexual violence, when in fact we know it's actually quite prevalent.
What inspired me to write this story, I guess, would be the voices that I knew would be unheard when I was doing research and hearing the true stories that people posted on the internet, and just feeling how upset I was for reading them. I figured I should share it too.
Scenarios USA uses writing and film to foster youth leadership and pairs them with some of Hollywood's greatest directors.
I feel for me when I first read the script that what was appealing about it was that it was fresh, a relatively new approach to an age-old subject.
She's my age. She's the same grade as me. She's 16, you know. She wrote in a way that I think a lot of adults can't.
I learned as a father that all of the negativity in her life, this is how she's processing it, and to see that she's doing it in a manner that will help so many people, it's truly a surreal experience.
Issues related to health and wholeness, sexual identity, but also the misuse of sexuality to control or manipulate another person.
Kids today are ready to hear some of that information, which is probably why our writer wrote about it.
Can't even look me in the eyes. That's rude. We haven't had a chance to talk since Alicia's party. You should really be in class. Never know what kind of psycho might be walking around the hall. Oh, and do me a favor. Tell Alicia I'll be picking her up after practice. Thanks.
My character Desmond, an underclassman in high school, and his sister Alicia is dating Christian, who has sexually assaulted me, and nobody is aware of this except for me because I'm just trying to cling on to what sanity I've left, and I don't want anybody to know because I don't really know how to cope with it.
The mission of Scenarios USA is to amplify a youth voice, and the creative way that we do it is through writing and through media.
Partnering with the Rape Crisis Center of Cleveland and the United Church of Christ, we've been able to find allies in those organizations. With the Rape Crisis Center, our story fits into their program very, very well. Alex Leslie and Ann Hansen have been big supporters of ours over the past several years. We're really looking forward to actually strengthening our relationship, especially with RCC and UCC, over the next coming months as we begin to prepare to bring this film out into the community.
I found Scenarios appealing because I had known a couple of people who had already gone through it as directors or writers, so I knew that there was a reputation of really good people to work with.
It's a communal process, just like any other filmmaking process is. There's professional actors, there's a professional team that's in place to help develop the script.
People from the Rape Crisis Center, the communities, voice their opinions, what they would like to see, what they wouldn't like to see.
Our youth have a lot to offer, and they are responsible if they're given good information, and adults need to unplug their ears and listen.
I was surprised that Scenarios focus more on the voice of younger people, because when you're young, adults don't really listen to you or pay you that much attention.
I think teenagers finding their voice is very meaningful and powerful because most people, they don't say anything, they let things brush to the side. And somebody who have a voice, they're able to speak up and not let things get them down and be able to tell somebody else.
For a teenager to grow into a fully functioning adult, you have to find your voice. You know, I can't imagine anything worse than going through life without having your own voice. It's quite possibly the most important part of growing up is finding out who you are.
Too many of our teens are silent and they keep what they feel about things inside of them. So working with scenarios has really helped me express to them and to myself that we are allowed to speak up.
We are all in service to the young person's voice.
I think that's a turn point for many people in their lives as far as finding out that they do have strength and finding what makes them unique and how they fit into this crazy world that sometimes is just too much to try to understand.
Scenarios USA has let me use my voice through this process by allowing me to share my point of view and letting me tell it the way I want it to be told.
Perpetrators continue to hurt people because these issues are shrouded in silence. With a film like Speechless, this conversation is going to explode in the Cleveland community across the country. I can't help but think perpetrators have to be a little bit nervous when they see a film like this.
We recognize that if we don't say anything, then people will continue to be clueless about what sexual assault is and how to prevent it.
Boys do cry. I cry all the time, and I'm absolutely okay with that, and I believe that the way that I am okay with all the emotions that I have inside of me is what makes me a sane person.
I would hope that if somebody who has been sexually assaulted watches this film, that they would learn that they aren't alone, that there are resources in their community if they seek them out.
We're not going to stay silent. We're not going to let silence keep people from owning their own power, their own voice, and having the rights that they need and deserve.
Before, I didn't think nobody would read it, nobody would look at it, but now I see a teenager, she got the light, so maybe I can get it too.